Hello, my name is Mercury and welcome to this brand new episode of Media Fae. Today, I'm alone. Today, I'll be discussing Transformers 1, the most recent Transformers movie, and the... what was I? The only animated Transformers movie to come out for the last almost 40 years. 38 years. What the fuck was I talking about? The 80s were 50 years ago. 38 years it's taking Transformers to finally get around to doing another animated movie, and it is Transformers 1, and Transformers 1 is the best Transformers movie to ever come out. Like, period. You can make an argument for a lot of the movies that have come out in the last for all the Transformers movies that have come out in the last few years, except for Age of Extinction and Last Night. Those are objectively bad, but a lot of people do find enjoyment in the first three Michael Bay movies. And hell, Bumblebee was pretty good too, and so was Rise of the Beasts. Less on that, but like less on the good scale, more like on the okay scale. But Rise of the Beast was a pretty good movie, and you can check out my review on it. That was about a year ago, but it's there. I made a recent new playlist for all my Transformers video episodes, which is only one, and now this one. But yeah, you can go check that out there. It's also our most popular episode of all time, so again, go check that out if you want. But Transformers 1, it is the most recent Transformers movie, like I said, and honestly, we're gonna get right into it. Now let me just have to say something. This episode wasn't supposed to come out until December. Yeah. So this episode wasn't meant to come out until December. I just wanted this to come out as quickly as possible. We had a meeting consumers, and basically what the meeting consumer and that meeting consumers was on Joker 2, but Joker 2 came out. So what I was gonna do is that I was gonna do it, even though it was already late. But I decided to hold off on it. But I decided to just not do it because, again, we don't usually do that. So again, now we're new stuff with us having a schedule, which we don't upkeep. But with us having a schedule now, I decided to, instead of doing that, I decided to just kind of roll with it, kind of just like take the latest episode we've announced and just kind of, and instead of doing that, I decided to instead, just make this episode, just take it from the last episode of the year to the most recent episode to the next episode of the year. Again, and also I just want to say that meeting consumers. I would take this time to talk about meeting consumers just for a little bit. Meeting consumers won't be continuing as it is for the rest of the year. There won't be any more meeting consumers after this month, which means that even after this, we have 2 more meeting consumers coming out this year, and one of them is already done. I just have to watch those videos. It's a bit of a shorter one. All the ones that we're doing right now are a bit of are on the shorter side. But yeah, I just wanted to say that these meeting consumers will be, well, number one, shorter. Number two, they will be the last ones for a good while, and it might not even come back as meeting consumers. I don't know. I'll wait and see what I want to do with meeting consumers. It's just that, but the thing is, like, with what happened the last episode, I just thought that, like, if meeting consumers land on like video on like dates where episodes are gonna come out, then that's gonna clog up the thing because I have to watch all those videos. And even if it doesn't, like, that's still an episode that has to come out then. And it's not like what the fuck? It's not like a video game presentation where it's just like one continuous thing. This is a bunch of different videos on a playlist. Like, there's ads in between. There's just a bunch of things, and it's not like it's not just one thing. It's multiple days of compiling, of just doing this. It's like a week's worth of stuff. When for It's like over a week's worth of stuff instead of like a video game presentation where it's just like one continuous thing. It's an hour long. It's like there. It's not a mega episode that encompasses a lot of things. It's just the one thing, and I prefer those. And I'll be doing them for Tokyo Game Show. There's a lot of things, a lot of catching up. I hope to do it before the next episode, before next week. Episodes are supposed to come out. But yeah, I've said that for quite a while, and that's never happened. But I want to do this. Anyways, so yeah, Me Consumers won't be continuing. I'll be doing something with it in next year. What that is, I don't know. But yeah, Me Consumers won't be continuing until after December. Just putting that out there. I'll be thinking of what to do with the series throughout these months. But yeah, Me Consumers has always been kind of a part of MediaFA. It's been there since the very beginning. And it would honestly be kind of a shame to not have it there. Because it's been such a big part. And even with doing the IGN stuff, that's been a lot of the Me Consumers that we've had for quite a long time. Again, like, we're ending this off on Me Consumers number 44, or no, I think it's 43 now, so something like that. I think we have 3 more Me Consumers to go this month, so yeah, just pointing that out there. Me Consumers, they're not going anywhere. They're taking a break because I need a break from these things. But yeah, just putting it out there. Me Consumers will be back next year, and at something we might go back to the original format. And that might just be what Me Consumers becomes. I might keep the name. I might not keep the name. There's just a lot of things Me Consumers that I need to figure out. It's just not viable for the podcast right now. So yeah, I'll figure out what to do with Me Consumers. But right now, after this month, it's done. It's not gonna be there. I actually checked, and I was like taking apart some of the things that were on the schedule, which we will find out soon. I'll hopefully be finally doing some of the things I wanted, like some of the weekly things I want to do, like just weekly announcements of the episodes coming out that week. But I will eventually, what happened with that, I don't know, I'll say eventually, but like what happened with that is like I actually found out that it didn't really matter, like it didn't really affect anything other than like we might get some episodes earlier than expected throughout like November. There weren't a lot of Me Consumers even left in the year, so it didn't really matter. A lot of them were just in October, and I didn't want to touch October because we're in October, and I already gave everyone what episodes there are in October, and they would just really mess with the whole thing here, and I might just, and I want to change that. So again, we will eventually be get around to doing a lot of different stuff for me. I'll definitely get around to Me Consumers, but not right now. Definitely not right now. So, aside from that, let's actually talk about the movie. So yeah, let's start where we always start, with the animation and action. And holy shit, this might be the best looking CG movie I've ever seen in my goddamn life. It's surprising this movie cost $75 million. Like, it looks like it costs more. And this movie just looks beautiful. Like, it's genuinely such a good movie that just looks good. Like, it doesn't even look good. It looks amazing. It looks legitimately spectacular. I don't know where I don't know where this came from. This movie looks so good animated. The Transformers, the Cybertronians themselves look so good animated. I don't understand it. Who decided, you know what, let's go hard with the animation in this movie? Because goddamn, they cooked. They really did. This is like really, really good. wow, every shot, every single frame of this movie is just beautifully animated. It looks great. No, I have no complaints about this. I really, really don't. I genuinely don't have many complaints about the animation and the action. A lot of for Transformers specifically, a lot of the complaints about the action in the Transformers movies has been that it just kind of looks like different like metal scraps taking like, just going at each other. And yeah, it does look like that. It does. Yeah, like I don't I don't disagree really with the yeah, I don't disagree with that. Like it's very hard. It's very hard to follow along with the movie, like with that type with those type of movies. Like the action is very hard. You don't know what you're looking at. But recently, especially with Bumblebee, the Bumblebee movie, and Rise of the Beast, somewhat Rise of the Beast less so, but because that a little bit less color. But Bumblebee kind of rectified it, and this movie really went hard with their action. Like you can actually follow what's going on. You know who's who. Like, and honestly, this is some of the most creative animation like action that I've seen in a good while with the Transformers. It really utilizes the fact that they can transform into it, like part of the action. Like for example, one of the scenes. Also, spoilers. This movie's kind of new. It's been out for 2 weeks now, but it is pretty new. This is one of the few times we really talk about something this recent. But yeah, there's a scene where Optimus, I guess at that point Orion Pax, is fighting one of like one of the Steve drones, which is the one of the, well, I want to call them Viacons, but you know what? I'm just gonna call it's an in joke that the Viacons from Transformers Prime, look like they're called Steve. That's a bit of a joke an in joke in the Transformers community. So you know what? I'm just gonna call them Steve from now on. So the Steve drones. Well, I think they're drones. I hope they're drones because Orion Pass has no they have no effect on him. He just kind of kills them. But he kills one in midair, like by transforming into a truck in midair, and another one is like when Optimus and Megatron are fighting. Optimus rips out like a part of Megatron's like tank mode, hits him with it, and then Megatron semi-transforms, so that part goes back into him, and then he blasts him. Again, he's like semi-transforming and blasts Optimus. That is such they use the transformation parts in the action, like the fact that they can transform so well, and that is something you can't do in live action. I mean, you can, but it takes quite a while. And there's a lot of moving parts to that. So I appreciate that not only that they have creative action, not only that they have like easy to follow along action, but also creative action. And even then, like the action in this movie is different. It's a very different style of action. A lot of the action in the live action movies, they're not like cut heavy, but they do use a lot of cuts. There's not a lot of full one shot scenes, and this movie really utilizes that full shots, full one shots I guess one take would be the thing, which is like full of that to this extreme. There are a few action scenes in this movie where it's little to no cuts. It is impressive. I really love that they were able to really bring out the Transformers and the Cybertronian, just Cybertronians. They call them they have Transformers like as a title in this movie, and I guess it makes sense because like what the movie is about, like the cogs and all that, and I do think it's an interesting way of integrating the Transformers name into, I guess, the Cybertronian culture. But after that, like, it's a bit of a weird thing to like officially call them Transformers, because that's the thing that the Age of Extinction and The Last Knight did, where instead of calling them Cybertronians, they just kind of called them Transformers, and that's like even like Quintessa, the big bad of Last Knight, called them Transformers. So that's a bit weird. Like, it was a bit weird. Instead of calling them Cybertronians, they call them Transformers, and that's like their official species like name, instead of like, I guess like Denonym instead of Cybertronian. But aside from that, like in this movie, I noticed that they use Transformers, and I'm like, well, but like they also use Cybertronian interchangeably. So I'm guessing that Cybertronian is like the official species that inhabit Cybertron, and Transformers are Cybertronians that can transform, and that makes sense. I like that, and especially in a society that there's minors that can't transform. So yeah, no, like I think that's interesting. It's an interesting way to take the story. So yeah, no, I and the world building, but I guess I would talk about the world building. But yeah, just it's really great stuff that they did that they've done with the animation and action. It is genuinely impressive, and it's a welcome addition. It's a welcome thing to have for the for Transformers, like a welcome addition, a welcome change. Just great. I would love to see more of this. Just more of this. This is great. But yeah, let's move on to something else that is also great. The characters. First up, of course, Orion Pax / Optimus Prime. And I gotta say, every time I say Optimus Prime, I just want to say that is the hardest name to ever exist in all of fiction. I don't care who comes up with a better name than Optimus Prime. Like, you are physically incapable of coming up with a better, cooler, more badass name than Optimus Prime. You're not even worthy of saying the name. Every time someone says Optimus Prime, their voice changes. Like, it's not like it's an involuntary thing. You just, like, when you say Optimus Prime, you don't say, oh, Optimus Prime. No, you said Optimus Prime. Like, you have to say it with full force, you get full voice, because that's what the name deserves. God damn it. Yeah, no. Orion Pass Optimus Prime. So officially, we finally have an origin story for this. We officially also full Cybertron, great stuff, no humans. And Orion Pax. I knew that Orion Pax was gonna be a very good character. Like, it's an origin story that works well in Prime and the comics and all that. It's a very well documented and well written origin story, and also just something that is like very easy to adapt. Like, it's something that works and has been adapted before. And especially with the sort of effect that Aligned has, and the Aligned continuity has had on the Transformers lore, and especially on this movie. This movie has a lot of stuff from Prime, and I'll talk about that later. Like, this movie has a lot of stuff from Prime. I guess I'll talk about it here. Like they officially use Orion Pass. Like, Orion Pass was always a thing from G1 that wasn't really. It was much more explored in Transformers Prime. But yeah, and in this movie they do have they did give Orion Pax a different origin story to every single one of his other incarnations. In this story, he's a miner, and that is that's an interesting direction to take the character. Now, historically, Orion Pax has always been sort of like I guess, higher up in Cybertronian society. He's never been sort of like this lower class citizen in the Cybertronian society. In most storylines and in most popular story in the more popular origin story that everyone kind of uses up until this point, and except G1, is the fact that Orion Pax was a data clerk. I think it's a data clerk, like librarian, or like around that, with like a pretty high rank in Cybertronian society. Like it's very prestigious, very like well off. Not like, I guess not like in monetary, but like definitely like having a comfortable life and all that. And then when the war breaks out with Megatron, with like the Decepticons and all that, Optimus, like he becomes Optimus, and he has like the role of like the underdog and the ones fighting for freedom and all that. And it's very different from what Megatron is, which Megatron I'll talk about later, but just to bring up to the aligned and like the most like the usual origin story for Megatron is that he was a miner or like gladiator and all that. Like, he came from the lower ranks of society, and he came up to be the dominant force on Cybertron and like a dictator of Cybertron and all that. Like that's what Megatron is, and fighting for freedom through fighting for like freedom through oppression. I think that's what it is, like freedom through oppression or freedom through force and all that. That's what Megatron is about. Like Megatron is all about force and taking the power for himself, and Optimus is all about like actual freedom and him being like the underdog, because the Autobots are the underdogs. They're like the losers. Like they don't have as much power as Decepticons. And that was always an interesting contrast between these two characters. But Orion Pax in this movie, like I said, he's a miner. He has the same origin as Megatron, as D16. So that posed a very, very interesting thing, and I think, and it was interesting where they took the story, because I was interested by this change, and I think that this could definitely work as like I think it could work, having Megatron and Optimus have the same origin story, having them come from the same place, and I think that they did it well. I think Orion Pax is great in this movie as a character. Chris Hemsworth, a lot of people were apprehensive about Chris Hemsworth being Optimus, but I think he did great. I think he's a great voice for a younger Optimus, definitely for Orion Pax. I think he fits. I think he fits with what they were going with Optimus here. So again, great props to Chris Hemsworth here. He did a great job playing Optimus, and I think he's just great. I like that he has the same origin story, but he is mostly just about trying to show. He's mostly just trying to stop Sentinel, instead of what Megatron ends up doing. He's much more of a he still has his moments of fighting, but he takes a much more calm approach to the matter, rather than what Megatron is doing. And I think it's an interesting thing to have that thing. Just I don't even know where I was going. Okay, wait. Recollecting thoughts. So I like that. So yeah, I like that they have the same origin. But what I don't, but like, it's interesting to have. I don't know what I was gonna say. I don't like. I do like it. It's again, it's an interesting take for what they're going for here, and I do like it. I do genuinely like it, and I think he had an interesting character arc with becoming Optimus and Megatron. Of course, here having like a Megatron, I could try look for the Matrix, and Optimus being rewarded, Orion Pass being rewarded by getting given the Matrix and all that. And something I also appreciate, and at first I didn't know if I would like this about the character himself, but I've grown to appreciate it, is that he's not a 13th Prime. They went back to his original origin story from the original G1 cartoon, where he's just a person. He's not the 13th Prime. And that's the thing, okay, that's a thing that a lot of people weren't fussed about in the aligned continuity. That in the aligned continuity, there were 13 primes, and yeah, no, like there were 13 primes, and instead of being, and instead of there being like a name 13, like in this movie, instead they had the 13th prime be just named the 13th. And it was implied that 13th Prime was Optimus Prime, instead of it just being some random ass Prime like we had in this movie. But again, just it's there. And I like, and in this movie, he's not the 13th Prime. He's just another worker. He's just another worker that becomes Optimus Prime, like in the G1 cartoon. And I like that. I do like the fact that Optimus, sure, he started in most continuities, he started the Autobots. Like, he's the leader of the Autobots, and here he is also just the leader of the Autobots. He's not like, this is how it started. He started with him being the leader of the Autobots, and that's just how it's always been. But in this movie, unlike in those continuities, in this movie at least, there is. He's not a Prime. He's not an official he's not part of the 13. And I do like that. I do like that they're changing Optimus' origin story to better fit the narrative. And I think it was a very smart choice, because now it's not like, oh, he's one of the 13th. Like, we have officially the 13 Primes. And like, and Optimus is one of them. Instead, he was replaced, like, the 13th, I think his movie is officially Zeta Prime. And Zeta Prime is like a name from, again, the Aligned Continuity. When in the Aligned Continuity and War for Cybertron, this goes way back. The name Zeta Prime goes way back, but I think I can trace it through this character's design, to Zeta Prime design in this movie, and where kind of name got popularized was in War for Cybertron, where and like the Aligned Continuity novels, because in the Aligned Continuity, Sentinel Prime is actually Zeta Prime. Like, his name is Sentinel Zeta Prime. Bit weird, but yeah. And I'll talk about Sentinel Prime later. But yeah, his name is Sentinel Zeta Prime, and he was named Zeta Prime in the War for Cybertron games. But in the rest of the Aligned Continuity, he is Sentinel Prime. But I guess at some point people were confused. Like, is this Sentinel Prime? Are they separate characters? So they decided to just kind of make it. Decided to just make it into one thing, and his name is Sentinel Prime. His name is Sentinel Zeta Prime. But in this movie, decided to use the Zeta Prime name for an official 13th Prime, and they separate them from Zeta, and separate the names of Sentinel Zeta Prime. That's cool. I like that. But yeah, I like that they've brought down Optimus from being just like this demigod that was reincarnated at some point, to them being brought down, to Optimus being brought down to just being a minor, like just this nobody that rose up to the ranks and is fighting and is opposing Megatron's tyranny. No, it's freedom to tyranny. I think that's what Megatron's officially like. That's what Megatron is like. He's a tyrannical leader and all that. So yeah, that dictator. But yeah, that's where. Yeah, that's where Optimus Prime is. I took quite a while talking about Optimus Prime. That's because he's such a good character, and I do really appreciate what they went through here. But yeah, Next up, D16 Megatronic. Goddamn, Brian Tyree Henry did a fantastic job playing Megatron. Chris Hemsworth was good. This guy, Brian Tyree Henry, did it fantastically. I don't know if he fits so well as a younger Megatron, and it's some people weren't exactly weren't how do you call this? They were very skeptical about Brian Tyree Henry voicing Megatron because the most voice work that he's done is for Spider-Verse. He's actually Miles' dad. He's Jefferson Davis. So and that voice is very different from Megatron. Like, that's not a very powerful voice. And in the trailers, he was definitely just He was definitely just playing, he was definitely just playing Megatron, or at least D16 with his own voice. And also, D16 is like the name from, I think, the comics. I don't think they used it in the line continuity. If they did, I can just check right now on the TF Wiki. Also, goddamn, TF Wiki is the best wiki. There's no, I don't know why. I really don't know why. They don't, like, other wikis don't go in the same vein as the Transformers wiki, because the Transformers wiki, what it does is that it's funny. Is that it uses humor to convey its wait. So he was D16 in he was D16 in the line continuity. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, no, like they again, very inspired by line continuity, very inspired by Transformers Prime. But you know, I really enjoyed his, like, Brian Tyree Henry's performance of Megatron. He feels powerful. I really like this, and I also like how how deep his, like, hatred goes. Of course, he looked up to Sentinel much more than anyone in the movie. He definitely looked up to Sentinel the most out of anyone in this movie. And and just having him betrayed, like, knowing, and also the fact about him being a Megatronus fanboy and, like, learning what happens to the Primes, that is, it's definitely a bit much, but I like that he went so deep into his hatred. It really shows the dichotomy between Optimus and Megatron. That even if Optimus knew about all of this, like, even if Optimus and Megatron, like, learned about it the same way, same thing, it is still like they still have different viewpoints as to what to do with the information they've been given, and really chart the way of, like, what Cybertron should be in the future. That is really, really cool to have these two characters have that sort of have those opposing views. So I think they did a fantastic job of Megatron in this movie, and I don't know. I don't think this Megatron can be topped. I don't think he really can. I think this is the perfect Megatron that we've ever seen. Like, this is just the best Megatron. And I gotta say, I can't keep praising Brian Tyree Henry's. I can't stop praising Brian Tyree Henry's voice. When he becomes Megatron, he sounds like Megatron. Like, it is this powerful voice. Like, it's such a good voice, and it fits so well. And I also love that the Megatronus the Decepticon symbol comes from Megatron's helmet. that is like helm or like head that looks like that looks like the Septicon symbol, but like Septicon symbol was actually based on Megatronus because Megatron's such a big this thing was such a big fan of Megatronus, and to him it's a symbol of power. That's really cool, and I love that origin story. Right, it's such a good thing. It's just such good characterization, such good things to come out of Megatron here. I think this is the best version of Megatron I've ever seen in the entirety of the of just every movie. And honestly, if again, okay, so just putting this out there, we don't know if this is officially a prequel to Transformers, to at least the new era of Transformers, the new movies, Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast, and eventually the G.I. Joe crossover. We'll know eventually. I think it can fit. I think it can fit. The thing is that we don't know because just people have been calling it different things. Like the director called it its own separate thing. Like they eventually decided to just call it separate thing. And like and again the movie series is different. I think we'll eventually learn where officially this lands. I honestly don't mind it being its own thing. I think that leads it to actually having much more creativity and much more liberty with what the sequels could be. But I don't mind it. I think it fits with the narrative, and yeah, that's what I want to say for that character. And if this is our first real view as to what Megatron could be in the new movie series, I think it can be a lot better. And then bringing back Frank Welker and Peter Cullen to really hammer in these two relationship and how it devolved. I think this can be the best version of Optimus and Megatron's rivalry we've ever seen. But if this is our first glance at what Megatron is gonna be in these new movies, I think we're in for a treat. I think we really are. But yeah, just honestly, I can't wait to see more of Megatron, even if it's just its own thing. I think I can't wait to see more of this Megatron. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about Megatron. Move on, and why I said all that spiel about it being like maybe a prequel, maybe not, is Bumblebee. Bumblebee in this movie is actually called Bumblebee. His name is B-127, but they call him B, or Badassatron. I'm not gonna do the voice. Maybe I will. I don't know. But yeah, like they call him his name is B-127, and that was something that is made for the Bumblebee movie. Like, in a regular continuity, Bumblebee is just named Bumblebee from the get-go, and that's something that isn't. It's something that isn't explained, and that's something only really explained for the purposes of the Bumblebee movie. And that's why people say that this could be its own, and that's why people say this could be its own prequel. And I think again, I think it can fit as a prequel. The only thing I can't really accept is the fact that Bumblebee in this movie is voiced by Keegan-Michael Key. And honestly, he does a fine job. He's a bit annoying, but that's fine. The thing is, why I think these could be separate is because they're very different from each other. But I think that these could work as the same character, especially since Bumblebee could have a change in personality, have different things. They talk differently, have different behavior, have a different behavior and all that throughout the war. So yeah, I think that this can fit, but honestly, Bumblebee is fine. He's a bit, again, I said he's a bit annoying, but I think he's fine. He doesn't really do much in the movie. He does have a lot of comedic moments. Some jokes land, some don't. And I think that's just the real just thing of one movie. Like he's sometimes funny, he's sometimes not. It's fine. I think it's fine. But aside from that, I don't know. I'm not too big on this incarnation movie. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I just we'll see. But yeah, he's one of the least interesting characters in the whole movie. He's kind of just there to really move the plot forward at some for one point, and then the rest he's just comic relief. And sometimes he's funny, but again, that's not really what I want to go with. But anyways, something I do want to talk about is Alita 1. Another character does very minimal things, but I can definitely see the starts of an interesting character. Again, in this movie, she is. Alita 1 has taken quite a big jump in popularity since the release of War for Cybertron, Siege, not the game, but Siege, the show made by Rooster Teeth, R.I.P. Not really. Go fuck yourself. I'm kidding, no. There's no one there to tell me to go fuck for me to tell you to go fuck themselves because there's no company anymore. But anyways, Alita 1 has definitely gotten a surge in popularity since the release of that show. And yeah, no, I think it's interesting to have her as a leader in the mining thing and have her be very strict and all that. And Scarlett Johansson does a fine job voice acting. I have no real problems. It's just kind of fine. It just kind of sounds like Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, aside from that, I don't really mind. But anyways, Alita 1 is definitely cool. Definitely cool. She has her cool moments. She's tough. I can definitely see her being Optimus second in command for quite a while. And something I can also see is Alita, at least in G1, Alita 1, and a lot of continuities really. Alita 1 and Optimus Prime are kind of a couple, sort of, and I can definitely see that being something that happens in later movies. They didn't do it in this movie, and I kind of appreciate it because this movie had quite a lot going for it already. So having it not go in the direction of having a romance subplot with Optimus and Alita 1, I think it's an interesting take, but I do appreciate it. But something that was pointed out on Twitter that I did see and I do kind of appreciate is that, and I do appreciate and I think I would look forward to, is the fact that this could be a slow burn type of romance that instead evolves over time between Optimus and Alita 1. And I think that could be very interesting to see. And how maybe it ends in tragedy, I think in Siege, Alita 1 was killed. Not in Siege, but in Earthrise, and in Kingdom it was officially revealed that Alita 1 was killed by something I've forgot already. It's been quite a while since I've watched Earthrise. She was killed, pretty much. Didn't Kingdom take a fucking shitload to come out for the time it was? I think what is it? Siege came out in June of 2020. Then Earthrise in December, the last day of December, the last few days of December, and then Kingdom came out in July of 2021. It took a genuine fuck ton of time to get to Kingdom. But anyways, but yeah, just honestly, I think it's cool. I think it's cool to see Alita 1 having a much more presence here, and I can't wait to see how if they do if this movie succeeds and gets a sequel. I would hope to see sort of a slow burn romance. But I think she's fine in this movie, and I did like her. I think she had the funniest moments here, but I don't know. And next up, our main villain, Sentinel Prime. So this movie. There's something very different with Sentinel. He's still a traitor. That's something that is still very apparent about Sentinel. He's still just an ass in every continuity except Aligned. He's just an ass. In this movie, he is much more than just an ass. He's a straight up villain. Unlike unlike the live action movie, Sentinel isn't just a traitor to just go to the Decepticons for kind of no reason. But Sentinel in this movie is just kind of evil. He essentially removes removes the cogs from newborn Cybertronians. Yeah, he just desires to just make them go to mines, like mine for resources for Energon. That uses to pay off the Quintessons. And he hates them, and he's just a liar. He killed all the primes, and I like that he's such just evil. And I like that Sentinel's back to being a villain. Like, I like that they use Sentinel for a different reason, and a very well-written reason. Not like well-written for the story, not for the character, but it's well-written for just the story. And I do like that they took a different approach to Sentinel Prime, and they made him a lot more unlikable than he was in at least in Transformers Dark of the Moon. And I think he's much better in this movie than he was in there, and I do really like him because they make us really, really, really dislike this guy. I love that. That's the way that they took this character. Yeah, Sentinel Prime just really works as a villain, and of course he's not just the only villain here. But yeah, so let's talk about some other characters. I do like that we had there's a lot of different characters here that appear in this movie. Like Jazz is in here, RC's in here. They're the ones that have the speaking roles, and Ironhide is also in here. They have speaking roles, and I do appreciate that. And some other characters the 13th Prime again. I like that Zeta Prime is there as a 13th Prime. And I do like that they actually include the 13th Prime. Something that we don't really see. Alpha Trion Seal Year 2. I do like Alpha Trion's movie. I like that he has a beast mode. That's really cool. Very different. Another character I want to talk about is Arachnid. So Arachnid is from Prime, and again, a lot of Prime stuff in this movie. But there's just a lot of Prime in this movie, a lot of Prime DNA, and Arachnid's one of them. She's from Prime, and I do like that they took a different approach to this character. It's not the same character from Prime. It's not. It's full on not. But I do like that they at least included her here. She has things from Prime, at least the character model, and I do like that they took a different approach here with having being a spy, and also not being a Decepticon. That was something I was gonna mention in the in my second trailer episode that I canceled. That I said, okay, what I'm gonna do is I was gonna talk about, okay, will Arachnid join the Decepticons? And it seems like she won't. I think she died. No, she didn't die. But she was definitely not. But she I don't think she would be on Megatron's side, especially if Megatron kills Sentinel. So honestly, they could go a lot of different ways with this character. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do a completely different thing with this with this character. Maybe we don't really see her again. But yeah, no, I think at least include Arachnid in this movie. So yeah, no, that's all I gotta say about characters. Let's move on to the plot. So this plot is very simple. I do like that we. Oh wait, I forgot about Starscream. I like that Starscream is here and the Elite Guard and all that. And I do like that we have all his characters in it and they're working together and all that. Yeah, I think they don't really do much in this movie, but I like that they're here and then they support Megatron. I do like that we officially see the start of Starscream. The Megatron's inner bickering and all that. And the fact that also Starscream gets his voice by Megatron ruining his vocal processor and voice bots. That's cool. I like that they do with Starscream. But I think that Starscream was kind of underutilized. But that's not really. That's more of a nitpick than actually complain about this movie. But yeah, the plot. Its plots are again very simple. Not a lot to do to really unpack here, kind of like what I discussed last time. Yeah, no, last time. With Last of Us. Last of Us. Yeah, with Last of Us. That this movie is much more focusing on what on the characters, hinging is much more on the characters than the actual plot. But yeah, no, like a really solid plot. I think did a really good job with it, and honestly, I think that I think that they can go in a lot of different ways. I think it's what? No, what the fuck am I talking about? Like the plot really different. They could have okay. They could have gone different ways with the plot, but definitely went in a direction I think is a lot simpler, is a lot better. A lot of things. Like my main complaint about the plot is that the actual thing that really kicks it off with like them finding like a transmission from our Alpha Trion is a bit weird, and that just kind of comes out of nowhere. It just kind of seems like they didn't know where to take where to actually get the conflict to start. And honestly, the actual start of the movie was kind of not. It's not like it's not good, but it's like it drags a little. It's not as exciting as the second half, and the second half is kind of like at the very end is kind of rushed. So yeah, like there's just complaints I have about the plot, but honestly, I think it does it really well. Like I said, I was talking about the pace. Yeah, the pace is fine here. The pace is fine. I like it. But you know what? This movie really runs by you really fast. This movie doesn't really take it. It doesn't like it has the movie to breathe, but it's not. It always has something going on, and that's really cool. I like that. I like that we just don't have it moves along pretty well, and you can rewatch this a lot of times. It didn't feel like an hour and 40. It definitely felt shorter than that. So I like that, and it reminded me a lot of like older movies. Like I actually recently watched Beetlejuice, the original Beetlejuice, and those old movies, really run by fast. There's not a lot of downtime. Like there's always something happening, and I did feel like that in this movie. It went by you a lot of fast, but there's always something happening, and it was always something good, and I didn't feel rushed. Some parts are actually kind of, I feel like they were rushed, but I was writing wise. I mean, always writing wise, but it didn't feel like it dragged. It felt at a nice pace. That's again easier to identify. The plot is easy to follow. It's really cool. Another thing I want to talk about was the world building in this movie. It is impressive. So, in like a line, and again, a lot of line stuff here. Cybertron is made to be much more of a caste system where people are given jobs. Like the Cybertrons are given jobs based on what they're mostly built for, and that's something that is that I think could have been translated, but they didn't. Again, decided to go in a different direction with the world building here, and I think that's cool. And I like that Sentinel is kind of an asshole and just kind of does things just to do them and like take people take the thing out of take people's mind out of things. So yeah, no, I like that. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. What was I even thought about? Oh yeah, the world building. So again, like the caste system is something there, and I also decided to go in a different direction. Yeah, like they decided to go in a different direction here. So I appreciate that, and I like that, and like a Sentinel, like taking the Cybertron's mind off of things. So yeah, it's cool, and I love that, like the service world is a thing. Like it just works. I think it just works. So yeah, I appreciate the world building here. Just really great stuff all around. And yeah, no, I really like the plot here. So let's talk about the future of this movie. There is a lot of stuff going on with this movie, but let's just kind of talk about the actual plot and where they can go. The Quintessence in this movie didn't show up for a long time. So I like that they did. I think they could do a lot more stuff with the Quintessence, and that could be the next movie. But I think that the most likely thing is that they'll further along the Cybertronian War, civil war that happened between the Autobots and the Decepticons. That'll be a thing. I think they'll hold off the Quintessence for a bit. But yeah, no, the Quintessence were were not as utilized as I think they would have been. I thought they would be. So I would I hazard a guess that we're maybe getting something more with the Quintessence later on the line, but not right now. So yeah, I think we're gonna get something around those lines. Say we get a sequel, because it's not doing well at the box office. I just checked, and it just made back its money. Like, it just made back $80 million, which is the lowest, which is like not ideal. It's made back $5 million, and they spent quite a lot of time, a lot of money. They spent quite a lot of money. You know, like trying to advertise it, and the first trailer didn't do it any justice. It just did not do it any justice. And what's the time? Yeah, no, I hope it does well. It just made back some money. Guy on Twitter, TF Hype Man, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. Please, I know what you're doing with the Joker stuff, like having people like, oh yeah, like people like go instead of watching Joker, you should go watch this movie. And I like that Joker's bombing. So yeah, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate that you're doing all that stuff to get this movie to really to get this movie you know, like, successful, so we can get a sequel. I would love a sequel for this movie. I really would. But I highly doubt that we're getting one at this point. But, you know, I would hope that we get a sequel. You know, I really want this movie to get to succeed. I want more sequels. I want more stuff. But yeah. I think that's really about it. I think so. Yeah, just I want more stuff from this movie. So yeah, just to finish it off, this movie's great. Go watch it. Go watch this movie. So yeah, no, people watch this movie. This movie deserves it. Just watch it, please. Like, this movie deserves it. So yeah. Yeah, no, just cap it off. My rating for this movie is an A tier. This movie is really good, and you guys should go watch it. Just please go watch this movie. Yeah, no, that's about it. What do you guys think about Transformers 1? Leave in the comments below. All of our social in the description, except Twitter, because actually, fun fact, the the media fake Twitter is suspended for no reason. So I'm gonna have to fight X on that. I'm gonna have to fight Elon. So yeah, no, so yeah, just if you, just there, just don't go to Twitter. But yeah, that's about it. See ya.